Wanting to ask, can you guys still see the chat screen? Can you still see that, Andy? I've lost that from my view.
Yes, I've got it.
Okay, what phone system does the app work on? Here we go, Paul Howard. Paul Howard, we'll be sending you a Victor Pro Snappy Rat Trap. Paul Howard, all right. I've got a few spot prizes left. We might have to do a quick fire session at the end of the workshop if we have time. But right now, I really want to go into this Trap NZ. This is quite amazing. We hope more and more people will use Trap NZ. Certainly when I am collating all the pest control results, projects that can just say to me, yep, my data's up to date. That was so awesome this year. Daniel helped me download all the data into one spreadsheet. And I think I did 60 projects all at once in a couple of hours instead of that would have taken me days. So thank you, Trap NZ. Thank you, Daniel, for your continued support. Are you there, Daniel?
Yes. And can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
You are very welcome, Nairi. Thank you. Yes, so my name's Daniel Byram and I work for a company called Ground Truth based down in Paikakariki, but spread around a little bit as well. We're an environmental technology and sort of restoration, sustainable land management company. I will keep this pretty short because I know you'll want to spend the rest of your weekend doing something else, probably. So rather than give a complicated overview of what Trap NZ is, I'll just brush over that. I know a lot of you already know it and use it anyway. I'll just brush over it and talk about the new features and functions and what's coming up. Adele, can you put the next slide on? So the main components of Trap NZ are the website. That's the URL, trap.nz. Go there if you want to find out more. There's busy forums in there and there's plenty of help. So if you want to look at something I discussed now, then go there and have a look around. The main components are the website and the smartphone app that allows people to record data and run reports across their predator control projects. It's designed to be completely self-administering, so anyone can set up their own project and invite others to join. Can you go to the next slide, please? It's completely free to use. The smartphone app, there's a couple of screenshots from it, allows people to capture data while they're in the field. It's designed to work completely offline and out of cell coverage. So maps and locations are downloaded before you go out, and any data that you collect while you're in the field is synced automatically when you're back in coverage. Next slide, please. In order for the system to continue to be available for the public good and to be free for use, we basically gifted the system, the application, to a collaborative which provides the governance and funding for the system. And we've recently set up an operations group which basically helps to prioritize any developments for Trap NZ. So they make the decisions about what's important. So it's a good cross-section of both users and research organizations that want to get the information from Trap NZ. We remain the developers of the system. Next slide, please. The usage is still growing exponentially. This is just to give you an idea of the scale of the beast. Obviously quite a few in Northland. I think there's over 200 projects in the system from around that area. Next slide, please. It is called Trap NZ, but it does quite a few other things related to predator control. Obviously, you can record bait station records and data and get reports from that. things that people might not know about as much as the monitoring aspect of things. You can record the results from tracking tunnels and so on. 5-minute bird counts. We've got trail camera monitoring in there with software detection, which Manaki Whenua is working on. A lot of work around radio sensor traps and bait stations. We continue to try and make the system open as possible so other people with their own systems can get data in and out of TrapNZ. Next slide. We try and make as many of the reporting functions available through the website, and these are just an example of some of them. So for example, that one on the left there is a report on mustard heat hotspots in Queen Elizabeth Park nearby here. The 2E one pulls data from the 5-minute bird counts, and that's overlaid with trapping concentration, and then there's time linear charts that can give you a sort of overview of the relative index of species catches over time. Next slide, please. There's another one of bait take on the Miramar Peninsula while they were setting up the Miramar eradication projects and installing bait stations in the barrier area. You can see that the hotspots were obviously in that area. Does that play, that video? Doesn't matter too much. It was just to show you some of the sensor reporting, but I can go on to the next slide for that. I've lost my presentation, Adele.
Just give me a moment, sorry.
No worries.
I'm sorry because of that black screen, so just put it out coming now.
Yeah, that's all right. So this is just another example of a screen report. These are a relatively new thing, which are bait stations with sensors attached that give the bait level. So it's just a simple traffic light sort of system that lets you know which bait stations need filling and which ones have had the bait taken. Next slide. So I was saying that there are many ways of getting data in and out. There are map feeds coming out of TrapNZ now that you can link directly into your GIS systems. So this is just one example here of trap and bait station locations fed into Google Earth, which you can do, and that gives you, ability to customize your own map and give a 3D sort of layout if you want. Next slide. So I'll talk about some of the newer features and functions. Actually, bait stations have been in the system for a while, but I think a lot of people don't realize it's there. So you can add a 5-minute bird count location via the app or the website, and go and sit in the field and do your bird count. Little timer goes off in the app, and you can tap whether you've seen or heard the bird species, and then later on you can, through the website and other systems, you can see the relative index of your bird counts over time. Next slide, please. Another new feature that has been added quite recently is the ability to do proximity-based records. So the idea is that before you go and walk your trap line, you can set up some default values for the records that you will add for each trap type. And then you click the walk the line button and stick the phone in your pocket. And as you go and walk past the trap and inspect it, it'll recognize that you are near the trap using the phone's GPS, and will add a default record for that trap. And that's it. You don't have to get your hands dirty. Unless you are clearing a trap, you can change any exceptions. So you can record if you report something, or if a trap needs maintenance, but the rest of the time it'll do it for you automatically. Next slide. And while you're walking the line, it'll also record your track, and that will automatically get loaded up onto the website, including the start and end date of the track line. Next slide. Yeah, so there was a bit of talk about sensor-based traps. TrapNZ accepts sensor information from pretty wide variety, well, actually any sensor type, including the celium traps. Their reports are coming through to TrapNZ. EcoNode is another common one. So within your trapping projects, you can see the status of the sensor traps. So in this example here, the yellow ones are ones that have gone off. They've got something in them, and the blue ones are still live. Go to the next slide. So another new feature is the ability to show the stuff in the app and get notifications when a trap has gone off. So this is particularly useful for people that have live capture traps, and I know that a lot of people are reporting a lot of success with those, but of course you need to clear them the same day, so you want to know when they've gone off. So this will let you know by a notification on your phone that a trap's gone off, and you can go out and clear it. A lot of projects have also reported that this is really useful from an engagement point of view. If you're a time poor farmer, you don't want to be clearing traps that haven't actually caught anything, but if they've got sensors attached and you know that they've gone off, I'm much happier to go out and clear the trap and reset it. Next slide, please. Oh, that's a bit messy. Looks like the slide is doubled up. Never mind. So things that are coming up with TrapNZ, a lot of people have asked for more flexible bait recording. At the moment, TrapNZ records bait as grams, so that you can get an idea of the toxin that's used across the landscape. But that's actually quite difficult for people to record because they'll be putting in and taking out blocks or packets or other things. So we plan to make that a lot easier by allowing project administrators to set the unit that they're using across their project. Another one is the ability to log ad hoc kills. So if you're shooting deer or goats or whatever, or possums, you can record those in the app, including the location, and that will pop up in the reports. Another big development that we're doing is designed for the large-scale eradication projects that let you plan or manage the planning and deployment of traps. So this will allow you to map a grid of traps over your area using best practice spacings for the traps or bait stations, and then track the progress from then on in. So if a lot of the traps are on private land, you might need to go and get permissions from the landowners, so you can track that within the system, whether the trap's been approved or not, including permission slips and that sort of thing, right through to the installation of the traps. And we continue to work to try and make the things simpler. It's getting more and more complex as people's needs for recording and reporting become more complex. But we don't want to lose those backyard trappers as well. So I'm going to work to try and make a much simpler mechanism for people that have just got one or two traps to look after, to record and report on that. Yeah, that's kind of it from me. Happy to take questions.
Hi Daniel, thanks for that. That is, my mind's boggling. That's a lot going on in there. It's such a neat app, and there's so much. Can you just also, just before we go to some questions, talk about the feature where people can now select an organisation, i.e. Kiwi Coast.
Yeah, this came out, well, DOC needed it, and a few other large organizations needed a mechanism to sort of group projects together, because you've got one person like Nairi who needs to oversee maybe 100 or 200 projects, and up till now she has needed to be a member of all the projects that she needs to combine in the reports. So the idea behind the organization is that we can set up an organization like Kiwi Coast and join up the projects that want to be members, and Nairi, who's a member of that Kiwi Coast organization, will then be able to automatically see the data from the member projects. Just a simple way of grouping projects together.
Yeah, I guess my interpretation of that is, if Nairi is a member of a TrapNZ or of a project on TrapNZ, if Nairi gets hit by a bus, Kiwi Coast can't keep making its maps and collating data. But if Kiwi Coast is the organisation that's linked into the project, it means that it keeps sort of going. So it's not a personal membership; it's a Kiwi Coast membership, and it can be a lot more robust. It also means that when we're updating our Kiwi Coast maps or collating the data, we can get some help with that, rather than asking each project every year, oh, now our GIS mapping consultant is this person, please give them access so we can bring through your information to the map type thing. So just, I guess, making things more efficient and smart.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that, Daniel. So groups can do that now. They can go into their TrapNZ projects, and in the edit function, go to the far right, and there's some features there, and one of those is Kiwi Coast as an organisation that you can select. So please do that, guys. It'll make our lives a lot easier.
Hang on, Nairi. I think you're getting ahead of yourself, because you're the one that needs to do that, because you can't add a project to an organisation unless you're the organisation member.
Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll figure that out. Hey, Andy, did you see any questions coming through there for Daniel?
Yeah, hi Daniel. A question's come up. What feedback are you getting from users in general of TrapNZ?
Well, that's very interesting. We get, well, it's a huge variety of people and interests. I don't know, that's pretty open questions. We certainly get a lot of feedback when things don't work. I mean, that's always the case with software. So, you know, days or weeks when we don't hear much from people, we think, things are going really well and we haven't broken anything. Getting more and more feedback that people are starting to have the tools and mechanisms that they really need to record and report on things. So it's, you know, much more of that outcome monitoring, which I guess will become more and more important as predator numbers go down. You need to, you know, see that stuff is still happening in your area. If you're not catching any rats, you want to know that your, you know, bird life is going up, and that your monitoring stations aren't seeing anything.
I'm getting a bit of feedback coming through how wonderful TrapNZ is, and
I see that thing about the trail cameras. So the question is about the potential use of TrapNZ with AI technology to ID predators. So yes, that was the project that we did with Al Glenn from Ngāki Whenua. They've been developing a system which will recognise predators in trail camera images. And so we work with them to allow people to upload images from trail cameras in TrapNZ. You can do that now, and you can optionally send that image to the artificial intelligence to process. That part of it is still a work in progress. Personally, I think it's still going to be a while before a machine can detect things like stoats and ferrets and reliably in an image. But certainly there's an interface now where you can load up trail camera images and quickly tag the presence or absence of species and then report on that. So that, you know, works like the monitoring station functions in TrapNZ, and then you can report across using maps and so on to see where the hotspots are.
Excellent. Hey guys, I'm going to stop you there because we are at 2 o'clock. So we are needing to bring our Zooey to a close. Thank you so much, Daniel. We will just finish with a spot prize.